So when I say ethical hacking, what pops into your head? Maybe some scene out of a movie, right? Frantic typing, code flying across the screen, a brute force attack against a firewall. But the reality is often, well, a lot quieter. It's way more methodical. It's less like a battering ram and more like a detective story, a careful investigation to uncover clues and find a way inside. Okay, let's dive into this. And just like any good detective, you don't start by kicking down doors. You start by, well, knocking on the front door. The very first step is just gathering information that's already out there, totally in the open, seeing what the target is willing to tell you without even realizing it. So in this explainer, we're going to tag along with a penetration tester, kind of see things from their perspective. We'll walk through the big steps they take to check out a network's security, looking at the tools and techniques they use to piece together a map of their target's digital world. All right, first things first, before you can even think about testing a fortress, what do you need? You need a map, right? A map of the grounds. And in our world, the digital world, that map starts with something called the Domain Name System, or DNS. It's the foundation, the directory for the whole internet, and for an attacker, it is an absolute goldmine. Seriously, just think about it like that. DNS is literally the phone book for the entire internet. Its whole job is to translate a name you can read, like google.com, into an IP address a computer can understand. And what that means for a detective is, well, it's huge. By just asking this public phone book the right questions, they can start to sketch out a really detailed picture of a company's entire online setup. In this whole process, it's called DNS enumeration. It's actually pretty straightforward when you break it down. First, you pick your target domain. Then, you start collecting all the public info you can find using all sorts of different techniques. And finally, you start making those direct queries to really fill in the blanks. Find out about their servers, their subdomains, all that juicy infrastructure stuff. Now, this brings us to a really important fork in the road. Are you going to be passive or are you going to be active? Passive is like being a real spy. You're gathering intel from public records, search engines. You're a ghost. The target never even knows you were there. Active, on the other hand, well, that's a bit bolder. You're actually knocking on their digital doors, directly asking their servers for info. Now, you get way better, more detailed information this way, but you're making noise, and that noise could get you caught. Of course, nobody does this stuff by hand anymore. Professionals have a whole toolkit to automate this. You've got Amas, which is like the heavyweight champion. It builds these incredibly detailed maps. Then there's Subfinder, which is just fast. It's a speed demon for one thing and one thing only, finding subdomains. And then you have something like the Harvester, which is awesome at scraping info from places like Google and LinkedIn. Each one gives our detective a different lens to look at the target through. Okay, so our detective has a map. Now what? Well, now they start looking for a way in. And this is where the game totally changes. Because once an attacker gets just 1 foot inside the local network, even the most basic, fundamental things we trust can be turned into weapons against us. So let me introduce you to the Address Resolution Protocol, or ARP for short. On your home network, on your office network, ARP is that friendly little helper that basically directs traffic. It's how your computer finds your router. Simple enough, right? Here's the catch. ARP is way too trusting. It basically assumes everyone on the network is a good guy and is telling the truth. And that trust, oh man, that is a vulnerability just waiting to happen. And this is exactly why. Take a look at this ARP packet. It's pretty simple. An attacker can just make a fake one. A fake packet that tells your computer, hey, over here, I'm the router now. This is what we call ARP poisoning. And just like that, it tricks your device into sending all of its internet traffic right through the attacker's machine. Scary stuff. So how in the world do you catch a liar on your own network? Well, this flowchart here shows a pretty clever way to do it. Instead of just blindly trusting an ARP packet that comes in, a device can hit the pause button and double check. It basically shouts out to the whole network, hey everyone, for real, who has this IP address? And if the physical address that answers back doesn't match the one in that first packet, busted. It knows something's fishy, flags the packet as a fake, and can sound the alarm. Okay, so our digital detective has a map of the network and maybe, just maybe, they found a foothold inside. What's next? It's time to start rattling the doorknobs, actively scanning for any unlocked doors or open windows. And for that job, there is one tool that is the undisputed king, nmap. the network mapper. I mean, this thing is the quintessential tool for exploring a network. It's how you find out what devices are even online, what services they're running, what ports are open. It's basically the Swiss Army knife for anyone in network security. But here's the problem every pen tester runs into, right? What happens when you come up against a firewall? I mean, these things, these digital security guards, are built specifically to spot and shut down the exact kind of scanning that nmap does. So is that it? Is our detective's journey over? No way. This is where the real spycraft kicks in. You've got these incredible techniques like idle scanning. It's so clever. You basically use a totally innocent third-party computer, what we call a zombie, to bounce the scan off of. The target sees the zombie's IP, not yours. You're completely hidden. Or you could try source port spoofing. You make your scan look like totally normal, harmless traffic, like a DNS request, hoping to trick the firewall into just letting you waltz right on through. Okay, we've spent a lot of time looking at this from the attacker's side. So let's flip the script. How can you act like a detective on your own network? Believe it or not, you've got some really powerful tools already built into your computer. Let me introduce you to ipconfig if you're on Windows, and ifconfig for you Linux and macOS folks. These are your go-to first-line diagnostic tools. They give you a super quick snapshot of your network setup, your IP address, your router's address, all the vital signs of your connection to the internet. But that's just your own setup. What about seeing who your computer is actually talking to? This question from a Reddit user really gets to the heart of it, right? How do you spot that one malicious connection hiding in plain sight? And the answer is another command you already have, netstat. It will show you every single active network connection your machine has open. The detective work here is basically a process of elimination. So try this. Close your web browser, close your email client, close every program you know is supposed to be running. Then open up a command prompt and run netstat. Anything that is still connected and talking to the internet, well, that's something you should probably take a closer look at. Could be a normal system thing, or it could be something you really don't want on there. You know what all of this really goes to show is that cybersecurity isn't this one-and-done thing. You can't just build a big wall and call it a day. It's a constant, never-ending cat and mouse game. It's a battle between the people trying to find a way in and the people trying to secure the perimeter. Think about the journey we just took with our digital detective. We started way outside, just mapping the kingdom with DNS tools. Then, we looked at how an attacker might slip inside using something like ARP spoofing. Then we went on the offensive, probing defenses with a tool like nmap. And finally, we turned all those investigative ideas back on ourselves, using basic commands like ipconfig and netstat to check our own systems. It's this constant cycle: reconnaissance, exploitation, and defense. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Every single device you own, your phone, your laptop, even your smart TV, it's talking constantly. It's sending and receiving data from servers all over the globe every single second of every day. So the real question is, do you have any idea what your devices are actually saying?